Good evening, baseball fans. It is a Sunday, November 5th. It is actually like the day that I normally record, so it's not that weird. So this is Susie, Bourbon and Baseball. We have no bourbon, but we have lots of baseball. And I have a very special co-host with me tonight, Kelsey of K-Bird Tweets of Peace, Love, and Baseball. How are you, Kels?
I am doing great. Thanks for having me on, Susie.
I'm so excited for you to come on and talk all about the World Series, and the Gold Glove Awards just dropped, so we're gonna go over
Yeah.
that a little bit. But first I probably should give you a warning. This is a rated R podcast. This is adult content. Not like that adult content. Don't get your minds out of the gutter, okay? Like that's what the only fan. No, I'm just kidding. We don't have either one of those. I mean, I don't. I don't know about Kelsey, but I definitely don't.
No,
Um
nothing to see here in that regard.
Chelsea's like, dang, okay. So lots of F bombs, mainly from me, and probably some inappropriate adult humor. Mostly from me again, maybe a little bit from Kelsey. I don't know.
Well, the
When
fact that you haven't cussed me out already off of the show as I'm wearing my Texas Rangers shirt, we're off to a good start,
yeah,
but you
well,
never know where things are going to go.
I had to give the people the warning, just in case they needed to put the earmuffs on the children or put
Yeah.
them away. Put them away. I gotta quit saying that. I think I've said that the last 4 episodes. I don't even know what I mean by that. I'm sorry, guys. So,
Put their ears
put their
away.
ears away. I don't know. Again, if you don't be mad at me when they're like, "Mom, what does fuck mean?" That's you know,
Yeah, we don't want to be
uh,
responsible for that.
that's not a thing that I would like to be responsible for. Even though I think she was 3 at the time. Um, she dropped part of her sushi roll and she was very upset about it. And she straight up did not hesitate and just went, "Fuck damn it." I'm all, and when kids,
You hear that?
well, and that's the thing. I've never actually put those 2 words together in my entire life.
Sure,
And
yeah.
so I just kinda looked at her out of the corner of my eye. I'm all, "Baby, what did you just say?" And she kinda looked at me out of the corner of her eyes, and she just kinda grinned, because she knew what she was doing. But so the fact that the 3-year-old
Yeah.
said it in the proper context, I was a little proud, not gonna lie. But I'm like, "What did you say, baby?" And she's like, "Nothing." I'm all, "But what'd you say, babe?" And she's like, "Fuck damn it." And before I could, say anything else, she walks over to me and puts her tiny little hand on my cheek, and she goes, "I say when I older, mama."
Yes.
And I was like, "Uh-huh." And when you can't laugh at, the things that your kid does because
Right.
then they're just gonna do it
Yeah, you're like, "I
more?
can't encourage this, but
Yeah,
I I'm proud.
yeah. That's
Someday I'll tell
that's
you this story and
that
how proud
was
I am."
that was the entire thing, and I'm all, "Oh god." And I it's like a big long post on my Facebook, but I'm all, the fact that, she put the 2 words together at some point, I'm all, I've never put those 2 words. Like, if she had
Right.
said fucking shit, that's on me. Hand
Sure.
up,
Fair enough.
that's on me. Fuck damn it, that you're just creating a whole new phrase, and I'm here for it.
Yeah, she's
Um,
already putting her own spin on it.
yeah, I can't, I mean, we'll save the cussing until she's, 9 or something, but, whatever. Anyhow, so there's your warning, guys. Again, if that's not your jam, totally okay, but this is probably not the podcast for you. So, with that said, Kels, I know that you watched a lot of the World Series. Did you watch all of the World Series?
Oh, you know it. Yeah, I was all in.
Okay.
Every minute, every pitch, every out, I was there.
Now, I know because, I follow you on Twitter, and you're very good Twitter follow. If you haven't followed Kels on Twitter, go do that now. And it will always and be forever be Twitter. It won't ever be X.
Thank
So,
you. Yes, that's important to
yeah,
establish. I'm equally passionate
very.
about that. Twitter forever.
And I'm like, "What? I can't be on X because X is
What
I'm
even
old."
is it's not a thing. My
Well,
my
when
husband refers to it as the platform formerly known as Twitter
yeah,
the
that's
other
way
day,
too
and I
many
was like,
fucking
"No,
words.
it's just Twitter.
Absolutely not. No.
Just Twitter."
No, when I say I'm on X, in college, that meant I was on some
Yeah,
illegal substance,
that
right? I'm
sounds like
all
a completely different thing.
like, "That's not a thing." Anyways, so sorry, guys. You didn't come here for my
I'm glad we
college
established that, though.
experiences. Yeah.
Yeah.
But Anyhow, go follow Kels on Twitter. She's a very good Twitter follow. And I know that she was rooting for the Snakes. FYI, I have if you're on
Ooh,
audio
yes.
only, go to the YouTube, go look. I have a We're Fucking Dangerous shirt on
Love
from
that.
our friends at PHNX. And all the good merch over there. We love them. Go follow, go support. But you are not wearing a Snakes anything, Kels. What you got on over there?
Well, I'm brought to you by John Boy Media tonight, because I am wearing
She doesn't mean it, guys. It's not John Boy Media. I promise.
but they have provided me with this lovely Texas Rangers, Corey Seager and Marcus Simeon attire. And yeah, I mean, I love baseball more than anything. I'm a baseball fan, and so I'm very happy to be sporting this and happy to see these kinds of players take home a world championship. So yeah, well, I was definitely pulling for the Diamondbacks. I loved their story and was following them all through the postseason. I have some Snakes merch as well that I am equally passionate, if not more passionate about. But I figured since I'm coming on your show, I'm probably the only person who's ever going to rep the Texas Rangers on Bourbon and Baseball. So here I am. Now is the time, right? As they just walked away with the world title.
Yeah, that's not, your assumption would be correct because it will always and forever be fuck the Rangers over here, much to the chagrin of my Texas loving husband because there is a split of Texas people.
Yeah.
There's a split of Texas people, and I need funny story later on to get this, but they just if you were an Astros fan, they wanted some Astros fans were like, "Okay, well, we are going to root for the Rangers so that the World Series trophy can stay in Texas."
Okay.
And my brain just kind of broke every time I would hear someone say that, and depending on who it was, I would, give them choice words or just smile politely and, you know, pat them on the head and be like, "Oh, okay, that's precious." I am one of those people that, no, abso-fucking-lutely not. It will never be, you know, yay Rangers. I will always and forever root for anybody against the Rangers. It just happened to be the Snakes that I just really liked.
Yeah.
And before the season started, I was on the Snakes train. I didn't have them going to the World Series, not gonna lie.
Yeah.
But
No.
I
Me
but I
neither.
said, "Be very, very conscious of this team. Be very conscious of this team. They're young, they're fun." And you saw it sometimes, kind of. You saw that brand of baseball a little bit, and, there wasn't any of those household names that the quote unquote "casual fan" would know, right?
Yeah.
Unless you follow baseball in its entirety or you are a fan of, uh, the Diamondbacks, you're really not gonna know who, Ketel Marte, Geraldo
Exactly.
Perdomo, Alek Thomas. You may have heard of Corbin Carroll, maybe,
Maybe, but not
but
before like this
mm-mm,
year.
no, absolutely
Yeah.
not. And so, I mean, unless you listened to the show last season and earlier this season, then you would have heard myself, Shelby, when she was on the show, give all of the flowers to the Snakes and tell everybody you need to be aware of this team. So now that they are on your radar, just be aware. Also, I freaking love Tommy Pham, and that's just kind of like been like a recent thing of late. And so I just really appreciate his, fuck around and find out attitude. And
Yeah, he really
I just
aligns
kind of
with
love
your
it.
brand here.
Yeah. Yeah, kind of love it. This is why God was like, "We're gonna make you small, Susie. We're gonna make you small because there's no way that we can match your size with your attitude. With this,
Kind of the
it's just
same
too much
way
talent."
that God was like, "We're gonna make you a good hitter, but not the best outfielder, Tommy Pham." It's that same kind of like, we can only handle you at this
Hmm.
level.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, and the fact that I don't know what actual eye disease he has, but the fact that he has like an eye
Oh,
disease,
yeah.
can barely see,
It is
has to
pretty
wear
wild.
special contacts and
Mhm.
put in, I don't know, like eye drops every other inning or something. I'm sorry if you mean to tell me that I can't see? And the sport that I love and play as my profession with, balls, haha, flying at my face, 99 miles an hour.
Yeah.
I, I, I would just die. I'm like, no, thank you. I don't want to do that. Maybe I'm gonna go find something else that doesn't require,
Right.
I don't know, like eyesight that good. But Tommy Pham says, "Fuck all y'all. Look what I can do,"
Mhm.
and there he is. So, do you think he stays with the Diamondbacks? Because I know he's a free agent this season
Yeah,
or this
I
month.
don't know. I'm not sure that he adds enough for what they would have to pay to keep him, because I mean, he will
Right.
get he can definitely get paid somewhere. So, and he really can fit in anywhere. So, I wouldn't be surprised if there's just another team that he holds more value to
Right.
moving forward, but I don't think there's no chance he stays with them. So, we'll see.
I really I really like him on the Diamondbacks just because he kind of adds a little bit of that big brother energy,
Absolutely. Yeah.
and that like that veteran leadership, and
Yeah.
it came out from, the Mets, that he wasn't thrilled with the Mets clubhouse and the work ethic of the Mets players, and some of the fan base and some of the Mets players, I guess, didn't take
Mhm.
kindly to that.
Yeah.
I'm all, well, when one calls you out, you I don't know, you figure that out. But I loved his energy with that, and I was like,
Yeah,
"Yeah,
and he definitely is the type of player that is gonna fit into certain franchises and, like,
yeah,
vibe with a certain team better than others. So, who knows? Maybe he has
yeah,
found a fit and they'll make it work
no,
on both sides.
we'll see, we'll see." Anyway, so, okay, so now tell me why, if you had to choose a favorite Ranger,
Mm.
um, why would it be Jordan Montgomery? No, I'm just kidding. Is it Jordan Montgomery?
Oh,
Who's your
hands
favorite
down.
Ranger?
Absolutely. I mean, in all honesty, before even just, like, a month or so ago, if I'm
Uh,
being completely honest, Jordan Montgomery was, like, the only reason for me to want the Rangers to win, because last year, beginning of the 2022 season, is like cackling, pointing at the Rangers, that at them signing 2 shortstops and Marcus Semien and Corey Seager, and then me now sitting here proudly bearing them on my chest, like 6 plus 4 plus 3 equals Seager and Semien forever. So, I I have turned the corner, but we can change, we can evolve, right? It's important to acknowledge when you were wrong about something, and it's
I I
very
don't
cool.
I don't know how that works. I'm never wrong about anything, Kelsey, so I don't know how that
It's
works.
very cool to see them not only stabilize, obviously, the infield the way that they do for the Rangers, but
Right.
the top of that lineup.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they are obviously a huge part. I have had great respect for them as players. I didn't see necessarily how they fit into, especially together,
Mhm.
working for the Rangers the way that they have, but that was really exciting and fun to watch. But yes, Jordan Montgomery, obviously, he spent last season with the Cardinals. So he was with the Cardinals for basically a whole year, because they acquired him at the trade deadline in 2022. And then they had to ship him away at the trade deadline in 2023 because they were not playing well enough to make it worth keeping him.
Right.
And I think maybe there's some misconception there among other fan bases, or, the casual fans, that like the Cardinals didn't want him the way the Yankees didn't want him. That is absolutely not the case. It was very brutal, very painful to part ways for the fan base and the front office, I'm sure, alike, with Jordan Montgomery. But there was absolutely no reason by the trade deadline for them to keep him and not get some kind of return on him. And I mean, good for him, because all I could think when that happened was like, go get a ring. Like,
Right.
go get it, because he has worked very hard and been able to just be so adaptable wherever he's ended up,
Mhm.
whether it was in New York, in St. Louis, and then with the Rangers, where he is at in his career at
Right.
like such a pivotal time. And I don't think I don't think it was that the Yankees didn't like appreciate him enough or whatever. It certainly wasn't that the Cardinals didn't. It just, he wasn't, fitting. He wasn't the plug and play that they were looking for at the time. He was for the Cardinals, but they couldn't make the most of it around him. And so
Right.
I'm just so glad that he got the opportunity with the Rangers, and he really performed even to the next level that people were expecting from him.
Mhm.
And I think we as Cardinals fans like knew he had that in him, because he certainly performed that way for the year that he was with the Cardinals. And yeah, I'm just super pumped for him. Mike Maddox was the former pitching coach for the Cardinals that came over to Texas this year. So even though that was a bummer to see him leave St. Louis, he
Mhm.
has over 40 years of professional coaching experience, and he has not won a World Series. And he's from Texas. He's from the area. So that was really cool to see it for him as well. But yeah, Jordan Montgomery, Seager, and Simeon, those were the guys that I was most excited to see do well on the Rangers. Whereas opposed to the Diamondbacks, like you, there was not a guy that I was not excited about, you know, and I
Right.
just think like vibe wise and team wise, that is what I loved about them as well, was that
Mhm.
they weren't your household names, and
Right.
they're not the guys. And I know that's not great for ratings and Major League Baseball hates it and whatever, but I think it is good for baseball
Right.
because those players and that team has so many new fans now.
Yep.
I hope that we'll continue to follow them, and whether they stay with the Diamondbacks or not, because they're really fun to watch and they gave us really exciting, good baseball.
Yeah. So I went down a rabbit hole of finding out unuseful information about the players on the Rangers, specifically Evan Carter.
Oh,
Now,
oh,
yeah.
juicy.
So, if you guys didn't watch any of the World Series, you may not recognize the name Evan Carter because he came up in September. He was a September call up. He was a rookie and he literally played out of his mind. He was the 50th overall draft pick from the Rangers a couple of seasons ago and just played well enough. And I think they said his nickname was Mr. Full Count because the
Yeah.
motherfucker walks all of the time, has great zone recognition, and just could work an at bat. He batted ninth at first, then they moved him to seventh, then they moved him to fifth, and he ended up in the 3 hole. The 3 hole after Adolis Garcia got hurt. Now, as an Astros fan, having a rookie that just could outplay everybody that at his position, get playing time, and just play meaningful innings in the postseason hurt just an
Mm.
extra little bit for me personally. I know for a lot of Astros fans, it hurt watching Evan Carter just shine over there. Bruce Bochy saying, "You know what, Travis Jankowski, I appreciate your effort, but sit the fuck down, Evan Carter. Come on up, let's go." So Evan Carter is young, and when I say young, y'all, he is like 21. He is a
Yeah, he can barely legally
literal
drink
baby,
bourbon. Yeah.
literal baby, and he married his high school sweetheart.
Ooh.
I say high school sweetheart, but when I say high school sweetheart, I mean they have been together since they were 13, y'all.
Whoa. Whoa.
I went down
Ooh.
this rabbit hole and my husband, I'm recounting all of this to my husband and he's like, "Baby, that I don't really
Yeah.
I don't care.
Like,
Like
why do you
that's
know
not
this? Mm.
I okay, that's so good." And I'm like, "I have to tell somebody because this is crazy." So yeah, he is married to his girlfriend, his first love, his only love because they have literally been together since 13 and my brain broke a little bit.
Yeah.
For me, I grew up in Vegas. I moved to a small town in Texas. When I tell you that a lot of high school sweethearts get married from here, it's not mind-blowing because
Yeah.
it's small town Texas. A lot of high school sweethearts got married here, and then they come back, and it makes sense here. So it did not break my husband's brain like it broke
Mhm.
my brain.
Mm.
And I cannot wrap my head around the fact that they've been together since they were 13. Like,
That's
what?
funny that you're bringing this up because my husband and I were just talking the other day about high school sweethearts and like how the idea of it is so mind-boggling to us. And we both come from like small Midwest towns, but we both moved to New York City like straight out of college
Ugh,
and have lived in Chicago and New York City our entire adult lives. And we didn't meet until we were like 27 and 30. So, and we feel like some sort of way about that. And that worked out pretty well for us,
right.
So
Yeah.
it's really hard to imagine like if we had met even at 17 and 20,
Right.
let alone
13. Yeah.
13.
I'm like, what is I literally I went down a rabbit hole of Evan Carter's beautiful wife's Instagram, and I just so this is the hard hitting pressing news that y'all come to this podcast for.
Exactly.
BABIP, whip, don't give a fuck about that.
Mm.
Let me tell you about Evan Carter and his wife that they've been together since they were and I was like, I what again? So kudos to the Rangers. I can't even say that. Like that literally hurts my soul.
So,
It hurts
regardless
my
of what
soul.
team they had been playing against in the World Series, though, like, you would have been rooting for the other team. It just so happened that the Diamondbacks made it easier.
Absolutely.
Gotcha.
Abso-fucking-lutely. Like and so I one of my friends was like, "What would you have done if it was like the Yankees versus someone?"
Oh,
I'm all,
yeah.
"No, it would have been the NL team." Like I wouldn't have cared what NL team, but it would have been the NL team. And they go, "Okay. What if it was a Yankees-Dodgers World Series?" I was like, "Fuck my life." Like, that would have just
Let's not go
been
there.
I don't know. I was like, I think maybe the space-time continuum would have just, like, turned in on itself and just imploded. I
Yeah,
don't know.
see, it's funny because when you say Yankees-Dodgers World Series, there's obviously a certain amount of people, like a massive amount of people that's really exciting for because
Right.
of the size of their fan bases and the areas that they're in. But for all of baseball fans, like, because to me, even that would be like one of the least exciting World Series that I would not have been nearly as into it. So
Oh,
it's just
yeah.
so funny, like how much we hear about, oh, the Rangers Diamondbacks is
Yeah.
bad for the game, lowest ratings, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, nah, I think like us baseball fans are like more into these types of series.
Yeah. Well, and it was so funny because overall, MLB grew game-wise,
Yeah.
viewership-wise, ticket sales over 162.
Right.
And it was just this World Series that everyone's like, "Oh my god, it was the least viewed, blah, blah." I'm like, "Of course it's gonna be the least viewed. It's the fucking Rangers and Diamondbacks."
Yeah.
Literally, no one is gonna know names except for, like, Max Scherzer, who was barely on the
Mhm.
Rangers, Corey Seager, and, like, Marcus Semien. If you did not follow baseball, you are not gonna know who Evan Carter is. You are not gonna know who, Adolis Garcia is. Well, maybe you'll kind of know Adolis Garcia, but, like, you're not,
Now you do. Yeah.
Yeah. You're not gonna know Jordan Montgomery, and
Yeah. Or
FYI.
even Merrill Kelly.
Oh, yeah. In case you guys didn't realize, Kelsey is a very, very, very large Cardinals fan.
Yeah. My setup's a little
Yeah,
confusing. If you
yeah,
are watching here, I've got plenty of Cardinals.
yeah. So, if you're audio only, just know Kelsey's a Cardinals fan.
I am a Cardinals fan.
If you are viewing on YouTube, you're gonna be like, "Susie, shut the fuck up, I see." Um, but so, and again, on on the Diamondbacks, everyone's like, "The Diamondbacks? What? I'm sorry?" You're not gonna know Zach Gallen, you're not gonna know Merrill Kelly. You're going to kind of maybe recognize the name Madison Bumgarner, but then realize
Nowhere to
that
be found.
he's no longer on the team. They DFA'd him, and yet he is literally their highest paid player.
Insane.
So, it's you're not gonna know Alec Thomas. That's not a name that you're gonna know. It's and so I did have some Astros fans who were like, "Absolutely not. I'm not gonna watch that. Nope. I won't even watch it just because the Rangers are in it." I was like, "No,
Yeah.
that's some serious okay, like, that's fine." But they have their basketball, they have their football to watch. I don't think you guys understand. I don't do any of this.
This is it for me.
It's just the baseballs
Yeah.
that I watch, okay? And they're like, "Yeah, but" I I don't know how many times I gotta tell y'all. It's no football, it's no basketball, hockey, right? None of it.
Mm-mm.
It's just all baseball all the time. And they're now that apparently the Texans are good, I don't know, but everyone's like, you can hop on the football train, Susie. You can hop on the Texans. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do that. I was asking all kinds of questions during the game today. Texans played the Buccaneers, FYI. Buccaneers is my husband's favorite team. And I kept asking him questions, and he just would, like, look at me. Like, he would try and explain, but he's like, I just wanna enjoy the game. So, I'm all like, "But why, like, why is that a penalty?" And he's like, "Yeah." So, I'm like, they said something about a wideout. I was like, "What's a wideout?" And he just kinda looked at me. I was like, you're right. Like, don't answer that. Don't answer that because I don't actually care. I'm
Right.
not actually going to fucking remember, and I will ask you this question again next week when they say
Mhm.
something about a wideout."
Mhm.
And he's like, "Yeah." So,
There's also just so much to care about and follow in the off season of baseball that, like,
yeah.
I don't feel like I need to follow another sport. I'm all
Yeah.
in. I mean, tomorrow, free agents hit the
Mhm.
market. The
Oh,
stove
yeah.
is hot. We gotta be ready.
Stove is hot. Well, and I turned on, the lead on baseball,
Mhm.
and my girls were like, "Baseball's back?" And they're like,
It
"Wait,
never goes
I
away.
is this in Spanish, mom?" I was like, "It is in Spanish. This is the Dominican Winter League. This is called lead on." And they're all, "Why can't we understand it? It's in Spanish." I'm like, "Well, that's because it's in Spanish, baby. Like, I don't know if you know this, but you don't know Spanish. So that's." But, there's players from the MLB over there playing in right now. I mean, Junior Caminero, the shortstop for the Rays, playing right now.
Mhm.
Anoli Paredes, which is the name in the Astro system that was a pitcher for us, came in and promptly walked two guys and hit a batter and just loaded all the bases. I'm like, Anoli Paredes, come on now. So, there's some names that you're gonna recognize over there. But and also, like, all of the Japanese baseball going on right now,
Yeah.
I know if you're deep in the trenches of the baseball, you already know the name, Yamamoto, you already know, like, the Hanshin Tigers, like, you already know, okay? I'm not that level just yet. We're getting there, guys. But I mean, there's all kinds of stuff, okay? And all of the peoples are electing free agency or, their options are getting picked up. Andrew Heaney from the Rangers, they he opted into his player option. I'm like, well, duh. The Rangers opted into their player option with Jose Leclerc, and I was like, also big duh. Like, you're not going to keep the guy that you trusted as your fucking closer for the back half of the season. Okay, so um yeah, just all kinds of fun managerial moves that have been made. The Rays GM now is over the
Yes.
Marlins.
Yeah.
I'm like, "Oh, all right." And the Marlins apparently wanna kind of replicate that Tampa Bay Rays magic that they
Mhm.
got going on over there. Um, but specifically though, Kelsey, the Cardinals, we all know that this pitching situation, it's not great. I say we all know.
Yeah.
Um, if you guys aren't aware of the pitching situation in St. Louis, Adam Wainwright retired. Yay for getting the 200th win though. Like,
Yes, it happened.
that was awesome.
It was a long season, but that happened. He has a puppy and he is retired. We couldn't be happier for him. And not that we were expecting him to be,
Right.
2009 ace form in this past season, but it was a rough one, but it
You were
wasn't just rough for
expecting
him,
you were expecting that
unfortunately.
just a little bit more from Wayno, and I felt real bad. I felt real bad. I was like,
But from others as well.
yeah,
Like, that's the thing. Because if that was the only thing that had gone wrong, might have still stood a chance, but,
yeah.
no. And quite honestly, like, in retrospect, again, I have said this before, but in April, did I expect I guess in March, 'cause there were probably points in April where I was already, like, waving the white flag. But in March, did I expect the St. Louis Cardinals to finish in last place in the Central Division? Did I expect the St. Louis Cardinals not to win the Central Division? Absolutely not. Like, I thought there was a very good chance that they would win the National League Central Division, as they often do.
Right.
But if you had told me how bad their season was going to be
Yeah.
and that they were going to, you know, end under 500 and said, "Well, what is gonna go wrong? we all as Cardinals fans would have told you, oh, the starting pitching is not going to hold up. And that is what's going to go terribly wrong. And everything else can just crumble around that really easily when it
Right.
is that bad of a situation.
Right.
So I don't want to say that the writing was on the wall, but it was,
Kind of on the wall.
once you started to like wipe off some of the dust, it was there on the wall.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, so, I took a look at the starting rotation because I was like, "Oh, well," I'm like, "Well, who's left?" Because, like, Chuck Flaherty is no longer there, like, he got traded to the Orioles, and
Mhm.
then, Jamont obviously not not there, went over to, the Rangers, and I was like, "Who is left?" And then I see Miles Michaelis as the one, and I was like, "Oh." Now no shade to Miles Michaelis, okay? Like,
Yeah.
I'm not saying this with any sort of, like, hatred in my heart or anything. Miles Michaelis is a very serviceable pitcher, but
Yes.
in no world should Miles Michaelis be your one,
Yeah, no, he's
right?
just not.
Yeah,
Right, yeah, he's a 3-4 guy at best. He's pitch to contact. He's also 35 years old, like, he's getting up there, and he had a less than stellar season, and he had
yeah.
a lot of command issues. We also have Steven Matz, who was signed for a 4-year, $44 million year 2 years ago, so he's gonna be going into the 3rd year of that deal, but
And
he
he
has
was
been
coming off
injured.
of injury. Okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
he has
that's
been
what I was
injured for a large majority of that deal. So again, inconsistent at best is what you can expect from him coming back in the starting rotation, question mark, because he also could be, a serviceable bullpen
bullpen.
arm
Yeah.
as well. But yes, at best in the starting rotation, we have Miles Michaelis and Steven Matz, who I would say are again at best your 4 and 5.
Um,
So
so let's see now. I'm looking at the quote unquote uh
the other starters that they would have had, like, who started games this season, particularly after Jordan Montgomery and Jack Flaherty were gone, and then
like
Steven Matz as
Drew
well. They had Dakota Hudson, Zach
Drew Rom.
Thompson, Drew Rom, yes, the Drew Rom era, and Matthew Liberatore, who is another guy who was traded from the Rays system to the Cardinals, who they've had really high hopes for the last few years. Guys who have never started more than 8 or 10 games at most in a major
Right.
league season. So just absolutely not guys that, again, you can plug and play them as a sixth starter, or barring injuries, but they are not going to be a 1, a 2, or a 3. And if the postseason is an example for anything, it is
Right.
that those last 4 teams standing are like the last 4 teams standing this season were very different teams
Yeah.
fundamentally from top to bottom. But the one thing that they all had in common was, I guess, the 2 things, right? Is they had a very strong 1 and 2, or as we've been heard referred to as co-aces.
Right.
All 4 of those teams had those 2 guys.
Yep.
And that's where, I think if the Cardinals had gotten into the playoffs and come up short, which is what we could have hoped for at best from
Right.
them this season. That is the same thing that has happened, for the last 5 or 6 seasons now, and it's what's going to continue to happen until they're willing to make the investment in their starting pitching. And it just got so bad this past season that now their backs are really against the wall, that as a fan base, we're all like, okay, are you actually going to do it now? And so we have, I think, kind of our realistic expectations versus what we really believe they need to do
Uh-huh.
to really make it up to us after particularly a season like the last. But really, again, when you look back on it, you're like, of course we're going to be hopeful. We have a lot of
Right.
great talent in a lot of places and a lot to be excited about. I mean, for God's sake, you have Nolan Arenado and Paul Goldschmidt on your roster. Like,
Right.
you always think you have a chance going into it with guys like that. But it's really tough looking back on it now to just see that there is a very specific issue that was just put on the back burner over and over again, thinking that there were other ways that they were going to compensate for it.
Right.
And it just really hit it hard this season.
Well, so now y'all have a glut of outfielders
Yeah.
that just they can't even get, like, playing time because you got so many good ones, and you have a bunch of I say a bunch, you have a few guys who play multiple positions who have basically kind of been pushed into the outfield because of that. What you guys doing over there with all the outfield? Can you trade any of those for pitching? Like, what's you just collecting minor league talent? Like, what's happening?
Yeah,
And
I think they
so
develop the same types of players that they're good at acquiring. So there's the logjam. It is just is what it is. It's an obvious problem. I mean, from what we know, from the outside looking in.
so
But
now is there I know there was a couple of guys on the IL. I don't remember if they like what their injuries were or when they're coming off the IL. Um, Nolan Gorman, Dylan Carlson.
Tyler
Was Tyler
O'Neill,
I'm like, was Tyler O'Neill he was hurt and then he came back. Did he get hurt again?
he did. He was on and
Oh,
off the injured list literally all season. I think he played like 70-ish games at best,
oh,
I think.
fun,
Yeah,
fun. We love that. We love
which
that.
was very similar to the season before as well. So, yeah, it
So
was
we
a
just
big bummer.
can't stay healthy. Those muscles just not happy. He
Yeah,
needs
I
to do
mean,
more yoga.
I could talk, a whole 3-hour podcast about all of my theories about what is going on with Tyler O'Neill, and I think has incredible potential.
Uh-huh.
I think the Cardinals are in a really tough spot with him because right now there's not a lot of value in him because of the
Right.
last 2 seasons, but there is enough potential there that maybe there is someone who is willing to take a chance on him. It's just going to be so interesting to see what they do with him because he is a free agent after this coming season. He's a
Gotcha.
Scott Boras client. I don't see them making things work with him past this season, even if he does perform,
Mhm.
have the kind of, I think he was 8th in MVP voting in 2021. Like if he returns to 2021 form, I still don't see them then putting up the money that Scott Boras is going to get for him as a free
Right.
agent. So either way, I just don't really see the Cardinals and Tyler O'Neill having like this amicable relationship in 2024.
Right.
But is there enough value in him given his current circumstances to make it worth trading him? So I really don't know with that one.
Well, so who is your closer now? Is it still Ryan Helsley or is it,
It is,
like
yeah.
a tandem of guys?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that it's Ryan Helsley. He was injured for a large portion of the season as well. So he came back at the very end just to kind of get back into the swing of things. I think he will be slotted, no doubt, as the closer.
Uh-huh.
But we had Giovanni Gallegos, who was utilized a little bit in that way, along with like some setup stuff. And then Jojo Romero, who was actually part of a trade with the Phillies at the end of 2022. He came over from the Phillies in exchange for Edmundo Sosa, a good utility guy for them. So he actually showed some really serious potential towards the end of the season for the Cardinals as well as a left-hander out of the bullpen. So yeah, I'm not as worried about the bullpen as I feel like maybe I should be because quite honestly, they were not great this season as well. But there were 3 or 4 guys who were on the injured list for the entirety of the
Uh-huh.
season that if they're healthy, they're game changers and we're already invested in them. So
And who are those?
um Guillermo Zuniga, we
Okay.
have Wilking Rodriguez and Packy Naughton.
Okay.
And those are just off the top of my head. I'm sure there's some other guys within the system that were on and off all season as well. And then I do think if you set up your starting rotation, the way that you can leverage your bullpen is just entirely different. I think
Different,
so
right.
many of the problems that we were seeing and the lack of potential there for players like Matthew Liberatore and even Zach Thompson, they've been so mismanaged because of the failures of the way that that team is set up.
Right.
So seeing them have more of a defined role, seeing them put in any kind of consistent situation, I think you can expect something very different out of guys like that too. So the bullpen, I can let a lot go and say like I'm interested to see how that works out with who we already have
Uh-huh.
if we have a 1 and a 2, but they have to get a 1 and a 2.
I had a 2.
And
You're
then
like, "Okay,
another
starting
and
pitching,
then
cool."
another, like, 3, 4 guy.
So in dream world situation, who do you no, I say realistically. Nope, this is dream world. In dream world situation, who is your starting rotation come opening day?
Yamamoto, um,
It's fair. Fair.
Nola,
Okay.
Montgomery,
Okay.
and then Michaelis and Mats, or Mats and
Okay.
Michaelis, because I honestly think Mats will step up and be. I would expect him from right now. I would expect Steven Matz to have a better season than Miles Michaelis, but I would feel fine with you put Miles Michaelis and Steven Matz. You put guys like that in a different position.
Right.
The team as a whole is in a different position every single day. If you have those 1 and 2 guys, and the Cardinals haven't had even one of those guys for a long time now.
Right.
And because they are not willing to make the investment in it, and they do not develop that kind of talent well either, and they never have. So that is that is a dream because that will not happen. They will not sign 3 free agents. 2 at most, 1 realistically, and then
Okay.
the others will be acquired via trade.
So Yamamoto coming over from Japan, obviously. Aaron Nola, obviously with the Phillies. Jamont with the Rangers. Jamont's going to get himself a bag. Now,
Yes.
through
Which
this
I couldn't be
playoff,
happier for him.
through this playoff run, he has exponentially like upped his
Absolutely.
value.
I said
Now,
a few weeks ago, which I don't agree with now, but in the moment I was really excited about it. And I said, like, I thought he could potentially get more money than Aaron Nola. He is a Scott Boras client. So for that reason, I think he will get even more than people are projecting, and
mhm,
because of his playoff run. But I
right.
don't necessarily think he just doesn't have the track record yet
Yeah.
that Aaron Nola does. But I hope he gets something close because he deserves it.
I think, and this is no shade because he's currently on the Rangers. I don't think that he like overperformed. That's not what I'm trying to say, but I feel like the money that he will get, I think maybe his performance next year won't meet that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So
I
so
mean, yeah.
maybe overperformance is the correct word, and I just really don't wanna put it out there because I don't want someone to, like, cut that and be like, look at this stupid bitch, like, what? She doesn't know anything," even though that's what people say anyways, and that's okay. But I don't know, I just feel like Jordan Montgomery is a very serviceable left-handed pitcher that doesn't have the greatest strikeout numbers, obviously. He's a little bit
Yeah.
more pitch to contact, but he's at 3, but he didn't pitch like a 3 in the postseason, if
Yeah.
that makes sense, right? And
Mhm. Yeah,
obviously
I mean, he slid
he was
right
just
in as
Yep,
the 1-2 there with
yep,
Nathan Eovaldi for the Rangers.
yeah,
Yeah, and he will get I do believe he will get paid as more of a 2,
yeah,
3 guy because of that.
for sure.
And honestly, he might be in that sweet spot in his career where we see that for another year or 2
Right,
at most from him, but I don't disagree with you
yeah,
in that regard. Like, I think he's at that spot in his career, and that's what happens, right? Like, that's the dream, is for them to hit
right,
that spot right when they hit free agency, so
yep,
good for him.
yeah. So, I like I said, you guys Cardinals have a glut of outfielders. Is Jordan Walker going to play
Oh, yeah.
in is he, like I mean, because he was DH for a little bit, then they're like, "Okay, we're gonna play you in left field," but
He
he's
pretty much
r
was always being tossed around the outfield.
okay.
They didn't I think they DH'd him maybe a handful of times, but they were pretty adamant about getting him out in the outfield because of the fact that, like, they want him in the lineup every day, and there's way too many DH options
But
already.
what is his actual position, though? Is it
So he is in right field now. He has been designated in right field, and honestly, one of the best things about the last month of the Cardinals season was seeing him actually look like a big league outfielder over the
okay.
last few weeks. Like, he made huge strides in the last month or so of the season. So I think we see a totally different, complete player in Jordan Walker in 2024. And that's one of the silver linings of the Cardinals not having to take it as seriously, I guess, of putting somebody out there that they needed to make every single play, especially in the second half of the season, is that he got those reps in. And yeah, he is our
So
starting right fielder.
okay, so starting day, oh,
Yeah.
Is Jordan okay. So then, I mean, now we'll kind of segue into Gold Gloves things because that will come back to the lineup here. So Gold Glove awards dropped, and there were lots of notable names, lots of notable names that got awarded, and um one from the Astros. Congratulations, Mauricio Dubon, for getting the AL Utility Gold Glove. That is where I thought if he had a chance that would be the position he would get. He also got nominated for second base Gold Glove, which I was really confused by because I was like, "Don't you have to play like the majority of your time at said position in order to be nominated?" Apparently not. It's not
I
in the
think you just have
rules.
to play a certain number of games, but I'm not sure what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a certain number. It's like a percentage, and I'm all that.
Okay.
I'm sorry, like what? That's so dumb. So for the AL, Jose Barrios of the Toronto Blue Jays is pitcher. Jonah Heim, Texas Rangers for the catcher. Nathaniel Lowe, first base for the Texas Rangers. Andres Jimenez, Cleveland Guardians for second. Matt Chapman, Alex Bregman was robbed. Toronto Blue Jays for third. Anthony Volpe for the New York Yankees at short.
Okay.
Yeah, some of these I'm all, "Oh, alright." Like, I
Giving
just
out
have a
party
little
favors to
I
the
have a little
Yankees,
side eye.
whatever.
And this is serious, and this is literally not because it's the Yankees. I just
Mm.
there were better shortstop candidate like, Bobby Wood Jr. would love to have a word. I'm just
Absolutely.
okay?
Who else
Um,
was nominated with him? Do you remember? I don't
um,
remember.
Corey Seager? Like, I'm
Ah,
I'm
yes.
sorry, like, alright, Anthony Volpe, good for you. Like, the 4 Yankee people that listen to this show are gonna send me DMs and be like, "What the fuck, Susie?" And I promise, like, you 4
Yeah, it's
Yankee
not
fans,
I agree, it's
it's
not
really
Yankee hate.
not about the Yankees. It's
Yeah,
literally about Corey Seager is right fucking there, like,
yeah.
but, I mean, Bobby Wood
And
Jr.
even
didn't
Carlos
even
Correa, like, I
yeah.
don't and I'm not a
Car
Carlos Correa fan.
yeah.
I don't know.
Well, and he was, like he was hurt for not the majority of the season, but, like, he was hurt. I'm all, I don't understand what's happening here, but, again, Steven Kwan out and left for the Guardians, Kevin Kiermaier for the Toronto Blue Jays in center. Kevin Kiermaier can get it, by the way.
Mhm.
Adolis Garcia, the Texas Rangers in right field. And then Mauricio Dubon of the Astros for the utility. And some of those made perfect sense. Some of those I'm all, I have some serious side eye for you. Um, but on the National League side, Zach Wheeler for the Phillies for pitcher, Gabriel Moreno, rookie catcher for the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Love
I'm
that.
so proud of Gabriel Moreno. Like that, that makes my heart warm.
Is he your
Um,
favorite Diamondbacks player? Like, if you had to pick one if you had to get a Diamondbacks jersey, would you get his jersey?
whew, I don't know. That's
He's
so hard.
one of them for me. I can't there's, 3 or 4. I can't pick one, but he would
I
be one of
would
them for me.
I would need to get a custom jersey and have multiple names put on that
Yeah.
jersey. And I don't think I mean, Moreno would definitely be one of them. There would
Yeah,
probably be, like, 3,
yeah,
maybe
same.
4. Crap.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
but
super
Gabriel
happy.
Moreno is I actually asked Michaela this, of the PHNX pod. I was like, "Does Gabby call their like, is he in charge of the pitches?" I'm like, because at some point, I wanna say Zach Gallen was calling his own pitches, but
Yeah.
then, like, "No, I'm pretty sure." She's like, I actually don't know for sure, but I'm pretty sure that Gabby's calling all of the pitches." And I'm
Wow.
all, that's, again, just stab in the heart for me that rookie catcher over here just doing the things in the World Series. Just, oh, pitching staff totally trusts,
Imagine
anyways,
that.
that's I'm not salty. I'm not salty at all about my own rookie catcher that apparently nobody fucking trusted.
Ugh, these Gold
Um,
Glove awards are bringing up some serious emotions.
yeah. Christian Walker for first base, Arizona Diamondbacks. Also, when he took off his helmet, and I was like, I was not prepared for a bald head underneath.
Same. I don't know why that didn't make sense to me, but I completely agree.
Was not prepared. I was like,
It's
what?
just not what I saw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-mm. Nico Horner of the Cubs for second base, Brian Hayes of the Pittsburgh Pirates for third, Dansby Swanson for the Chicago Cubs, shortstop Ian Happ in left field for the also for the Cubs, Brenton Doyle that for the Colorado Rockies. If anyone's like, who the fuck is Brenton Doyle? That's why you haven't
Oh,
heard
the
of him
Rockies.
because he plays for the Rockies. But you know that center field out there is massive, and
Yeah.
when we played the Rockies, I think that he stole at least 3, hits from us that
Oh,
I
nice.
I was literally like, "Oh my god, that's gonna get down," and then, he was just there. I'm all, "Where the
Okay.
fuck did you come from? Like, how did you what what happened?" That was literally the word. So, Brenton Doyle, there you are. Um, Fernando Tatis Jr. out in right field for the Padres, and then Ha-Sung Kim, also of the Padres, who got the utility glove for the NL. Now, I will say I will tip my hat and give the flowers to Ha-Sung Kim because I love Ha-Sung Kim as a fellow countrywoman. He's Korean, I'm Korean. If you're not watching the YouTube and you don't follow me on Twitter, surprise, I'm Korean. It's not a white girl over here. So, congratulations, Ha-Sung Kim, for getting the Yuto Gold Glove because he would move from shortstop to second. I think he played in the outfield a little bit.
A very little
I
bit. Yeah,
Yeah,
he heavily played 2 positions, and I am, very much a fan of him as well. He is easily my favorite player on the Padres this season,
yeah.
and I have mad respect for him. So that's not
Yes. This is
just
this is not any
putting
shade
that out
towards
there.
Ha-Sung Kim. It's just more so love for Tommy Edman,
It's
who
just, have you heard of Tommy Edman?
yeah,
Yeah,
and if you guys aren't as plugged into to Cardinals baseball,
then you
um,
haven't.
yeah, Tommy Edman, when I say that he literally okay, so Astros fans, stay with me, okay? Everyone being all, "Oh, Mauricio Dubon playing at second, playing like 3 games at short," and he literally was the most trusted outfielder, right, on the Astros when you're like, "What the fuck is happening over there?" When I tell you that Tommy Edman could literally play a Gold Glove, second base, shortstop, and center field, it's not like a Dusty Baker center field, not like no, like actual real center field. Like this motherfucker, Tommy Edman, can totally play. And the fact that he was bounced around so much, I'm all, Tommy Edman, how do you prepare to play all these positions
That's
within,
the
like, the same
thing.
game? I was like,
Yeah.
"What?" Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's the thing. I guess in the nature of the award, which is new. It was new last year. Last year, a Cardinal won it, Brendan Donovan, and Tommy Edman was up for it last year. But last year, Tommy Edman played second base and shortstop, but he still pretty heavily played shortstop. So and that sounds like that is more what Ha-Seong Kim did. At least that's what I was aware that he did. Maybe he made a few cameos in the outfield, but it was more so split between 2 positions, but he still had a designated position more
right,
often than not. Brendan Donovan, who won it last season, was all over the damn place too. First, third, second, outfield. He played the most positions and he played them very well. Not
yeah,
as well as Tommy Edman, but he played them very well and he won the utility gold glove last year. So, in the spirit of the award of what it means to me and what I thought it meant to Rawlings, clearly not, was that you're not just playing more than one position, which is great. It is a skill in itself, don't get me
yeah,
wrong, but there is no one who played with less irregularity than Tommy Edman. I mean, you never knew where you were going to see him on the field at any given day. And he did play those 3 positions: shortstop, second base, and center field. He did play the other outfield positions here and there, but that was more plug and play. But he played up probably all 3 of those positions very evenly. Like there was not the percentages are probably pretty damn close to where so and that is what I think is not only so impressive that he is able to do that
right,
with that little consistency, but that he did it, to your point, at such an elite level. And it frustrates me to no end that he is punished for his versatility because it is not it's still, something to be appreciated, to be
Right.
recognized, that you just have the ability, point blank, to
Yeah.
play more than one position at the major league level. That you can do it is enough. And a lot of times when you get moved around, you have to play multiple positions, you're not the best at any of them because,
Right.
that would be understandable. But the fact that he is the best at all of them too, like I can't, Susie, and I am very overly emotional about it. I said on social media a while ago that I would riot if he did not win the National League Utility Gold Glove, and by riot I mean whine a lot on social media. So that is exactly what I'm going to be doing for the rest of the off season and probably the rest of my life because I'm this is not the first time and it is not the last time that Major League Baseball will disrespect Tommy Edman, and I've had it. If you don't know who he is and you don't respect him, look him up. Watch the plays that they highlighted of him
Oh, yeah.
tonight. I was like, did you even look for Tommy Edman highlights? Come
Yeah.
on. And they had the audacity to say after they showed the highlights, they were like, it's really a two-man race between Ha-Seong Kim and Mookie Betts.
Stop it.
What? So
Oh my
that's
god.
honestly what really got me. I'm getting red-faced. My blood pressure's going up right now. I'm getting upset all over again. It's just not worth it, Kelsey. But I'm sorry. It's wrong. It's
We love the
wrong.
passion. We love the passion, Kelsey. That's what we appreciate here on the Bourbon and Baseball show. That's, typically it's me over here ranting and raving about the misuse of Yainer Diaz, but I'm so glad that somebody else would rant and raves about like I love it. I love it. I love it so much. Um
Thank you for letting me process that in real time because it's been boiling up inside of me.
oh, well, that's what we're here for. That's what we're here for. So okay, what is the defining, I guess, like reasoning of where he plays in? Is it dependent on the pitcher? Does he hit like, left-handers better, right hand, like, or is it just whoever else is in the lineup that day and then Ollie Marmol is like, "Where's my hole?
Yeah.
It looks like it's in center field today.
Yeah.
Tommy
No,
Edmonds, center field you go." Like, is that
yes, that is
okay?
the other thing that is so impressive about him is his position it is not catered to him at all. He is absolutely placed wherever he is needed based on everyone else.
Okay.
And that is another big I mean, that was another big problem, and you can blame it on injuries, you can blame it on whatever, but the inconsistency across the board or across the field for the Cardinals this season is another big difference that I am hoping to see. Not necessarily, I mean, they don't need different players. They just need to be
Right.
utilized differently. And you may or may not have heard it if you don't follow the Cardinals, but Yadier Molina is more than likely going to come back and be a part of the coaching staff this next season. That's obviously very exciting for a number of reasons because the last time that I was here, we talked about the difference maker that he was,
Yeah.
whether he was on the field or in the dugout. And so I don't think they need him on the field as a catcher. In fact, in his last season, I think he caught less than 60 of the games that season, but he was in the dugout. He was with the team, and he is the biggest coach for that team in the 20 years that he played for them. So bringing him back, I think, is a great punch that clearly the team needs. But my fear is that they are going to count on him to get stuff out of pitchers the same way that he did when he was on the field, and once again try to backpedal and be like, we don't need to sign a huge free agent contract. We can sign, a Seth Lugo as our number one and be fine.
Oh,
So that
no.
is, if I'm going to be, yeah, you asked me dream situation, but my my reality is, and I'm hoping it falls somewhere in between, right?
Uh-huh.
Because but I won't believe it until I see it. And all Cardinals fans feel that way at this point. I won't believe that they are going to spend big money until I see it. My realistic expectation is that they sign like a Seth Lugo and a Michael Wacha, and then maybe a Tyler Glasnow trade. And that
Okay.
maybe Yadier Molina can make some magic out of that, but I don't want to have to go that route. Like this
Seth
gives me,
Lugo is, like, catching straights. He's like, "What the fuck did I do, Kelsey?
I'm sorry.
Jeez." No,
It's
just
not
kidding.
it's
I
not
just
that. It's just that, like, I'd be happy to have him, but
Right. Not as
in
your
that 3 spot.
not as your
That's
you know?
all.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, that'd be great if we
Okay,
have
so
Nola too. Like, I'm fine
so
with that, but we need Yamamoto or Nola, in my opinion, for it me to feel excited, like, genuinely like, "Okay, we have
okay.
turned a corner here."
So then, okay, give me the starting lineup. Give me the starting lineup
Hmm.
on opening day.
Oh,
Like,
okay. Well, here's what you've, like, alluded to asking me about this, and you mentioning all the outfielders and even talking about, like, Tommy Edman and Brendan Donovan. What I'm not emotionally ready to deal with is the trades that are gonna need to happen to acquire at least
uh-huh.
1, probably 2 starting
Yeah.
pitchers. And for that reason, I'm not I can tell you who definitely is gonna be, and that is Jordan Walker in
Okay.
right field, Lars Nootbaar, I would assume will be in left field, but he could potentially be our center fielder. He will be in the opening day lineup, definitely. Obviously, Paul Goldschmidt, Nolan Arenado are holding down your corners. Nolan Gorman, I do think should be starting at second base and in the starting lineup every day. I think his performance last season absolutely earned him that. The then question is, I can't. You saw just how worked up I got over Tommy Edman.
Uh-huh.
I can't deal with losing Tommy Edman or Brendan Donovan. And there are a lot of similarities in the way that they can be of service to a team. Obviously, they were both utility Gold Glove nominees, but they're also very different, especially at the
Right.
plate. So I absolutely have a case for holding on to both of them, of course. And I would love Tommy Edman to be our starting center fielder on
Uh-huh.
opening day. I know there's a lot of arguments for that, and I don't like get upset when people say otherwise, like, because I think he
Right.
could be our starting second baseman too, or whatever. Like he could still play, 5 out of 7 days a week, whether he's platooning or coming off the bench or you know injuries. They're gonna happen. So having him, but then you also have Brendan Donovan. Oh God. Okay. I'm like talking myself into this hole of like, clearly we have to get rid of someone, right?
Right. Mhm.
But I really want to work it out in my mind where Nolan Gorman, Brendan Donovan, and Tommy Edman all fit on this team. That only happens, I think, if Tommy Edman is your starting center fielder, though. So, and that means Tyler O'Neill and Dylan Carlson are not around,
Okay.
or at least Tyler O'Neill is definitely not around.
And Dylan Carlson got pushed to the outfield, but that's not that wasn't his original position, correct?
It is. He was our starting right fielder pretty
Okay.
much every day, 2021, 2022. He oh man, I feel for him because I think he has a lot of potential. He has even proven potential,
Uh-huh.
but he was hurt a lot the past 2 seasons, more this season than last. He's only 23, so he hasn't, fully developed into the hitter. They haven't, again, given him consistency of where he's hitting and stuff like
Right.
that too. He is probably like fundamentally the best option for center fielder, and he's going to be a great center fielder for some team. I just don't think that team is the Cardinals. And I think they kind of tainted their relationship with him enough in this past season of the way that he was handled
Uh-huh.
that he is, in my mind, just holds the most value as a trade
Gotcha.
piece for
Mhm.
them. And he doesn't fit in. He's like this beautiful puzzle piece that you're like, this has to go in here somewhere, right? But it just doesn't fit. So I say that with all the love in my heart for Dylan Carlson, but I want to see him succeed more than I want to see him play for the Cardinals. And he was just going to fit somewhere else better. Now, is he going to be a one-piece trade for Tyler Glass now? No, but he could be a big piece of that.
Right.
So he's the
Okay.
only guy that I'm like willing to say, take him and use him to bring me
Correctly.
some starting
Right.
pitching. Yes. And
Okay.
I would say that for Tyler O'Neill too at this point, even though I have been a really big Tyler O'Neill fan at times. I will be, I hope for great things for him. But again, I feel like his ability to work well with the current setup of the team is kind of expiring. So
Well, there was some
uh,
drama between him and Ollie this season,
ugh.
right? Is that
The
am I
the
am I thinking of
third
the correct?
the 3rd game of the season, Susie, so it all was downhill from there. Yes, and
Okay.
there's many of us who still wanna go back to that day and that moment and say, "That was it. That was it." it was all over from there. But I mean, they've like squashed it a billion times from here on out. And I have my own theories of like, I think there were other veteran players maybe in the organization that didn't have the best opinion of him, who I respect a lot.
Ah.
So I mean, who knows? Who knows?
Well, you know,
I have my own like
um,
very, very specific reads on things that may or may not make any sense. But
gotcha. Okay,
yeah.
interesting. Well, we'll have to have you back, Kelsey, to like really like deep dive into those.
Those,
I'd be
your Evan Carter story, like those are the kinds of things that I like to look into too. So
see, it's a whole thing. That's what I'm here for. The one of the last shows that I did with one of my friends, Tom, that co-hosted with me, I was telling him about Mauricio Dubon and what a smoke show his wife is, and like that he has a pug and a Frenchie that are that are his kids, and he's like, I don't. This is not what is happening right now. I don't.
this is not the kind of coverage that you're looking
Yeah,
for. This is the
yeah,
coverage I'm looking for, and I think this is the coverage that is missing across Major League Baseball, Susie. So we are
right.
here for it.
Yeah, I was like,
Do
look,
you know? Let me ask you real quick
yeah.
before we wrap up. Do you know about Mauricio Dubon's relationship with Adam Wainwright? Have you heard that story?
Didn't Wayno, like, take him under his wing at some point in time and, like, give him advice? I wanna
So
say
he
was
Mauricio Dubon is Honduran,
Uh-huh.
and he grew up in one of the areas that Adam Wainwright's foundation first provided a clean water source for.
Oh,
And
okay.
Mauricio Dubon like met him and said, like, I remember as a child, I think he was like 9 or 10 years old or something. He remembers Adam's organization coming and Adam himself like coming and creating this clean water source for the village that he lived in Honduras.
Uh-huh.
And he came and told him, like, it changed my life. Like, I was just old enough to really realize, like, the impact that it had, and, my parents shared with me how that what your organization did for my community changed my life, and it's part of why I'm here in the Major League Baseball today. So, it's a really,
Wow.
really cool story, and that's what I always think of when I think of Mauricio Dumont, but it's crazy that, like, we heard about that so much as Cardinals fans, but it wasn't you shouted from the rooftops in all of baseball. So coming back to
Yeah.
the kind of coverage that I think we're missing, we've
I'm
got
telling
it.
you. Yeah, this like, there are plenty of shows for you guys to hear, like, the whip numbers of Wayno. They're not very
Exactly.
good. But
We're not
we're
gonna
gonna
talk about that here.
we're not no, we're gonna hear the human interest side, like, that's what we're here for, I love it. But yeah, that's I was like, "Look, just because I stalk everybody on Instagram, just okay, it's a sick obsession that I have, but not, like, in, like, a weird way, guys, like, don't
You're
don't
just
get
admitting
any
what everyone does, and
yeah,
I respect the hell out of that.
don't get any TROs on me, alright? Like, it's not a thing, I think that I would I would be friends with a lot of the players. Like, I'm like, I think they're cool. Not that I wanna date anybody except for, like, I don't know, maybe Kevin Kiermaier. I just think that that we'd be friends. Like, just a cool guy to hang out with. Like, that's
Yes.
just really it. Everyone's like, "Yeah, Susie, uh-huh, you sure wanna hang out with Jeremy
No,
Pena?" And I was
I
like,
don't know how to
"Ugh."
describe this, but Paul Sewald, the one of the first games I saw him pitch for the Diamondbacks, I just was like, "You're the best friend." Like, that's who you are as a human. I see it in you. And then I saw him interviewed, and I
Uh-huh.
was like, "That
You're like, "Done,
that's
done."
bestie." I don't so
Yeah.
I just refer to him as, like, my best friend now because, yeah, I feel you so hard on that.
Yeah.
I have no basis off of it other than vibes, really, but it
Vibes.
is
Oh,
what
yeah.
I feel.
Yeah. No, for sure.
There's
Well,
something
and
to it.
if you have listened to the show at all ever, basically, you will have heard, me talk about players in their schmedium pants, and it was like, "Oh, okay, Susie," like, I'm all, "No, no, no, it's not like that." Like, again, I can look at, another guy and be like, "You're a very good looking guy." That doesn't mean I wanna do anything with you. Just
Right.
I can
Yes.
appreciate
You
how
can
they look.
separate being attractive from attraction. Like, those are
Exactly.
2 separate
Like,
things.
Gabe Kapler, very attractive. Would I ever want to do anything with Gabe Kapler?
Absolutely
Abso-fucking-lutely not,
not.
okay? Like, no.
That is a
Um,
perfect example.
and everyone's like, "Oh, okay, like, uh-huh, Susie, Jeremy Pena," and I'm all, "Okay, look, like, Jeremy Pena is a very, very good-looking human, okay? And he can stay in the two-hole all he wants, not my two-hole, because that's weird, because he is a baby. His
Right.
age starts with a 2, okay?
Correct.
It does I turned 41 on Friday, and it's just weird. I'm like, I can't. It's weird.
Wait, are you turning 41 this Friday? Or you
Yeah,
just did?
no, I
Okay,
turned
happy
41
Sunday.
on
Well, happy
on.
early birthday.
Thank
Are
you.
you
I
having a
appreciate
birthday show?
No, no, absolutely
Oh.
not.
Well, I'll give you
I
a birthday shout out on Peace, Love, and Baseball this week.
Oh, well, I appreciate that. Thank you. Also, I I was this is also the content that you guys come to me for is the ADHD Susie content that has no segue, but that's okay. I listened to your last episode, Kelsey, and when I tell you that I almost turned it off halfway through, because I was absolutely disgusted at the fact that you are a fucking infant. Just you're just a
Oh,
fetus.
I'm not
Okay.
that much of I'm not an infant in Major League Baseball player
No, no,
years.
no, but you are an infant in actual years because you recounted a story on your last episode about your
Yeah.
Halloween costume, okay?
Yes.
That she was the Y2K bug, guys, and it was adorable, okay? She was in, like, 4th grade, is that what you said?
Yeah, I think I was in 4th grade that year. Maybe 5th. I can't remember. I was definitely 9 or 10 years old. But I'm
My
not,
hi
like, that much younger
my
than you.
high
We're
school
all
senior self
are you
over
technically a
here.
millennial?
I don't fucking know what I
No,
am.
I think
I'm
you're
an
probably
elder
just
millennial. I
yeah.
don't fucking know. I can't keep anything straight any longer, okay? I'm like, "Look, I'm grumpy, and I graduated in the year 2000, and in my mind, it's still in, like, the tens." Like, I cannot I have to physically remind myself that I graduated 20 plus years
Oh,
ago
yeah.
from high school,
Mm.
okay? Somewhere in my mind, though, it is still, like, 2010, and I'm like, "No,
Yes.
I just graduated high school. Like, what are you
No,
talking about?"
anytime we're, like, watching a movie or we're like, "Oh, yeah, this came out in 2011, so it was just, like, a few years ago."
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm
Every
like,
time.
I'm sorry, and then again, my big girl job is I'm a photographer, so I took a lot of high school senior photos.
Yeah.
So the fact that those high school seniors are now in their 30s and having children and have, like, big girl and big boy jobs, I'm not this old. How the fuck are you 30, but I'm not this old? But and then
I
I'm
know.
like, "Oh, JK, I actually am that old." So but I was like, Kelsey, I can't listen to you because you were like 8 and I was graduating high school and I was like,
At least
"Mm,
I'm older than Jeremy Pena. I
this is
mean
it's true. It's true. That is true."
and also, I have
And
been, like, an 80-year-old woman since I was about 12 years old. Like, I'm a very old soul. So, I'm about
That's
to go, like, take my Epsom salt bath and go to bed on a heating pad,
that
so
that's fair. That's fair. But yeah, so it's one of those things, guys. Like there's very few MLB players that I'm like, "Oh, yes, you can get it." Kevin Kiermaier being one of them. I don't know if like Kevin Kiermaier ever, you know, is sick of his beautiful hot model blonde hair, blue-eyed wife and just wants to, I don't know, like can you have a crush on a middle-aged, kinda chubby Asian girl? I don't know, Kevin Kiermaier, like, I don't know what floats your boat. Just saying, like, here I am, though. My
again,
husband my
attraction
husband will
and
be like,
attractive, totally
yeah,
different. I think
yeah,
that's a good way to
yeah,
put it. That's a really good call out.
but, it's the some people are like, "Kevin Kiermaier?" I'm like, "Have you ever seen Kevin Kiermaier?" Like, "Oh, yeah. It's the blue eyes and the dark hair." Hence
Yeah.
why I married my husband because 'cause he's got the
I
combo
am
going
also
on.
married to a man with
See?
blue eyes and
Yeah.
dark hair.
It's
Mhm.
it's a very
Mhm.
striking combo, I'm all
Yes.
that just it just does it for me.
I actually
Anyhow,
realized that, like, recently I've been with my husband for, like, 7 years now, but I realized rather recently that, like, I like to think he's a more attractive version of Adam Wainwright, actually, but he has the same look as Adam Wainwright, and I was like, "Oh
re
my god, I've been in love with Adam Wainwright since I was, like, 9 years old, and this is what happened." I fell in love with the first person that I found that no,
that look like Adam Wainwright.
but
That's
it's
awesome.
interesting. I'm not saying, like, he looks like him, but he, like, has the same look
Oh,
for
that's so
sure.
funny.
Yeah.
I now I'm gonna have to stalk your Instagram, Kelsey, and, like, match up pictures and be like, "Hmm." Anyways, so, but Kels, before we wrap up, tell the people where they can find, you, your show, and all that good stuff.
Yes, the easiest place to find everything from me is on Twitter. I don't know what X is, but I am on Twitter at KBirdTweets, which you can see right here if you're watching on YouTube. KBURD. That is my last name. Tweets. KBirdX does not work nearly
Mm-mm,
as well.
mm-mm.
So that's the spot for all the good stuff. You can find my link tree there, which will lead you to Peace, Love, and Baseball, which we do have an Instagram for Peace, Love, and Baseball at peace.love.baseball on Instagram, but streaming on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, on YouTube. I'm putting most episodes up on YouTube now as well. And yeah, if you just hit that K-Bird tweets on Twitter, find the link tree. You can find everything from there. And then we're also on Facebook at Peace, Love, and Baseball. So really wherever the kids are at, we are at.
Wherever are you on TikTok, Kelsey? Because
I
I'm not
am
on TikTok.
absolutely not on TikTok. That is actually another great example of how I am an old lady. 100% refuse. You will not find me on TikTok. I'm sorry. I can't do it.
I'm on TikTok. I scroll TikTok,
Oh,
but at
no. I
no
won't even
point
do
in
that.
time will you find me making TikToks or do I don't understand how people have the time or the energy to do
Exactly.
all of the things. Well,
Right.
I
Nope.
can't do that. I can't. I just
Yeah, even as I was
so.
spewing all of that right now, I'm just like, "There's so many things. No more things."
Yeah.
But
So, not I mean, like I said, I'm on TikTok, but not because I'm scrolling and I notice TikTok trends. That's all I do. Okay. So I will link all of the information for Kelsey in the show notes. Obviously not TikTok though. The Facebook and the Instagram, where the youngins hang out. The
yeah,
Facebook.
where the
And
kids, not the literal babies are at. How about that?
yeah. So I will link all of that in the show notes, but you also have another podcast, right, Gels?
Yes. I have, the Babes podcast, which I do with a Yankees fan, so
Ugh.
no, she's lovely,
We'll
but
we'll
join me over
forgive
there because
you. I'll
we
forgive you
know
on
the
that.
Yankees fan base is so strong over there too at watching and listening to Babes. Like, we have a lot of Yankee interaction over there, so I need you, other baseball fans, because 'cause we're not just talking about Yankee stuff, but a lot of times I have to be like, "We're talking about other baseball, not just the Yankees, because those Yankees fans, they think Yankee baseball is all of baseball.
Yeah, yeah.
And Jana is a great baseball fan as well, not just Yankees fan. So we're on YouTube there and at Babes Pod on Twitter, again, where
Okay.
you can find our link tree and listen. You can find it on my link tree. So really just find me and you'll find Babes too.
Perfect. Again, I will link all of those in the show notes below. Kels, I really appreciate you coming on this episode. And I'm so glad that I could be a vehicle for your spewing of Tommy Edmund love and appreciation and the diatribe that you went on about that.
Absolutely.
Come back
I owe you one
anytime.
for that. Thank you so much for this
Come back
platform because
anytime.
I needed it.
Again, I am still looking for a female co-host, Kel. So, if you want to add anything else to your plate, like two podcasts is not enough. You're gonna be like, you know what? I'm a badass. I'm a co-host for three. Come on down
I
anytime.
love it. Well, what I love about what you do here, Susie, is that you do cover all of baseball and you really know about it all. And
Well,
you learn even more about it because you bring in other people that know all about it too. So I love
what
it.
that's I again, I'm here for the peoples to give them all of the things that they need. Okay, like the information about Evan Carter being together with his wife since they were 13. It's still so mind-boggling to me. I still can't get over it. Anyhow,
You're not going to
um,
find that anywhere
mm-mm,
else.
no.
So come on back.
Um, Also, shout out to all of the Japanese people listening to the podcast. I don't know where you are. I don't know how you found the podcast, but shout out to y'all because you have been listening to the podcast enough that you have lifted us to the 245th spot on the Apple podcast charts.
That's so cool.
I thank you. I don't know where you are. I don't know how you found me. Yay. I'm so glad.
Lars
USA.
Nootbaar, St. Louis Cardinal, Lars Nootbaar has been spending a lot of time over in Japan. So I think he's really been spreading the good word of Major League Baseball over there, obviously along with
Yeah.
Shohei Ohtani and all of the other big names that come to us from the Japanese league. But that's so cool.
Yeah. I don't know where you came from. I don't know how you found me, but I'm glad that you're here. Big shout out. Thank you so much. USA people, if you could get on your high horses and do the things, that would be appreciated. Okay. I'm just saying 5 stars, leave a written review, like, sub, do all of those things. Please. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. And with that, we will say goodnight and yay, baseball. I'm going to hit the end recording. Maybe.